The ELOQUENT-2 trial is a large phase 3 trial that evaluated lenalidomide and dexamethasone versus the monoclonal antibody Elotuzumab in combination with lenalidomide and dexamethasone. And we know from earlier phase 1 and phase 2 trials that the combination is very active with an over 80% response rate, and then that response could be quite durable in large numbers of patients. This was a phase 3 trial that led to the approval of Elotuzumab in the United States just a week or so ago. And demonstrated a 30% improvement in duration of remission, a higher overall response rate, and that it was very active even among high-risk patients, particularly 17p and 414 translocated patients. What was presented at this meeting was a 3-year follow-up on progression-free survival as well as overall survival. And what we saw in this analysis was that the progression-free survival continues to hold up, about 28% improvement in progression-free survival with longer follow-up. And that the overall survival, while the curves were statistically separate, it didn't meet the pre-specified time point or statistical number for this early look at the data. So certainly very encouraging data from a progression-free and overall survival. And what we're most excited about in the US is that we can give this drug now. It's available. The major challenges was that there were 3 other clinical trials looking at drugs in this same space, and so enrollment was somewhat competitive. A third of the patients that were enrolled on this trial were considered high risk by the IMWG definition of high risk, which is very unusual and does not represent the frequency of high risk seen in other trials in the same early relapse setting. I think the third thing was that a significant fraction of patients were refractory to their last therapy coming into this, also much higher than you saw with any of the other trials in this space. So I think the next steps are to wait for ELOQUENT-1. ELOQUENT-1 is a Lendex versus Lendex ELO in newly diagnosed myeloma. And then there are trials now looking at bortezomib in combination with elotuzumab, as well as RVD plus elotuzumab in newly diagnosed transplant-eligible myeloma.